What is up, guys? Today I'm just going to be catching up on some camera comparisons, starting with the G8 versus the G7. So I know this is a big deciding factor, so let's go ahead and look at this a little more closely here. So we're going to start off with a couple of stills. So with this image from outside, as you can see, this is where the G8 really shines, is when we zoom in. We can see a whole bunch of detail here, and the colors are more accurate on the G8 as well. And as we can see with the G7, we kind of get a softer image. We don't get that much detail when you zoom in, but zoomed out on the G7 looks just fine. So that is a big thing, and you can see more detail in the sky on the G8 as well. So really good for outside shots on the G8, and it is definitely a pretty good camera upgrade. So if you're really looking for a solid camera, the G8 does a pretty good job. So let's look at the photo of the doorknob. So both of these did pretty good with color accuracy. Again, the same theme is running here. When we zoom in, we get more detail on the G8, and we just get an overall better depth of field here on the G8 as well. Now next up is a closer photo, and I kind of liked how the G7 took this one. It was just a point and shoot, of course, but we got kind of like a depth of field feeling on the G8, where it kind of blurs out parts that I didn't really want blurred out, and on the G8 we sort of get a more solid shot. But again, the same theme is running here. Color accuracy is better on the G8, and overall when you zoom in, detail is going to be present as well. So the next shot with this knob, as you can see, now you would think that the G8 messed up the color here because it looks washed compared to the G7, but that is the G7 kind of oversaturating. The G8 is again more true to life. That's what the actual knob looks like. So again, both are doing pretty good with depth of field, and the rocks, as you can see they're just more colorful on the G7. So you can see it's just oversaturating a little bit, more lifelike colors on the G8 here. So again, as we look at the car logo here, they both look pretty solid from my perspective, but the only real difference here again is when you zoom into the photo, you'll get a little bit more detail on the G8, but pretty good photos for both. They both did a good job, I think. So for the indoor photo here, the indoor photo did pretty good. I kind of like the G7's photo. It just looks a little bit more vibrant. This is where I think the oversaturation kind of looks better, but it really depends. So yes, the G8 is more like lifelike, but I really like just the overall color. I think it just looks more pleasing to the eye here. So that's where that kind of oversaturation kind of works out. But again, depth of field is really great on both, so no issues here. Like I said, I like the brighter color, or the brighter image on the G7 here actually. For this low light photo, both of these were not it didn't do that good of a job, so they're usable shots. These are two usable phones in low light, but overall, the photo is all right. It's not really that great, especially you lose a lot of detail when you zoom into photos as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about video. So video is pretty solid on both of these phones. They both do 4K video, but the G7 I think has the better microphone here for video, but I have to really check it again. But it seems like you're just able to pick up more detail with sound with the G7 here. But again, same story, softer kind of image on the G7 here, more detail and better color on the G8 here. But video is perfectly fine, and you probably can't really tell because this is going to go through the editor and it's going to be processed, but you are getting a little bit more detail on the G8 if you look at it just raw from the computer screen here. But yeah, so super solid camera for both, especially for video. Alright, so hopefully this helps with your decision, and whether to pick up the G8 or the G7. So be sure to let me guys know what you guys want to see in more camera comparisons, and I will catch you guys in the next one.